go ahead and get into some trailers. We got a trailer to talk about today, the one that's all the rays. All the people are talking about it. It's gotten very, very negative responses. I saw the like to dislike ratio on YouTube, which was 44%, which means 44% of people actually liked it out of the possible millions of views. Let me check that as soon as I can. There we go. Possible millions of, yeah, 7 million views. So out of 7 million people, well, I mean, not everyone hit the like button or dislike button, but out of, just whoever has hit that, you got to figure like millions of people, only 44% were just like, yeah, this looks pretty good. So, let's go ahead and look at the trailer, and we will be back with our review.
You really don't know who I am. Genie, wishes, lamb, none of that ringing a bell.
I like how Will Smith is like the only name up there. It's like Will Smith.
Will Smith. Yeah, he is kind of the headliner, but I mean, he's your most famous actor. That's probably part of that the group and everything. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of would have liked if they had the person who's actually playing Aladdin up there and just let him be the headliner.
Yeah.
He should be, because I'm like, all right, this is the person that we're going to be spending the most time with. So you would think like, hey, this is the person that we should see get top billing in the on the credits. But like I said, Will Smith's the headliner and selling it to the Western audience. So that's just what we got. So first impressions. Start with you, Mr. Hakeem. What did you think of the trailer?
Well, when I first saw the trailer, before I got here, when Will Smith popped up as a genie, I bust out laughing. I was watching it on my iPad and I saw it and I was like,
nah, he's got to look better than this, right? Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I will definitely agree there. Like some of like the effects. I'll put it this way: is there anything you liked about it?
I really can't even say that.
Oh wow!
It's just nothing really good, nothing really bad.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can say is that watching it now, it kind of almost felt like the Prince of Persia movie a little bit.
The only thing that I liked from this trailer was that the lion cave or tiger cave, or whatever feline that it is, was probably the more on point part for me. And then having the voice that match that, like, it's like, okay, yeah, it draws me in from the original Aladdin movie.
Getting ahead of ourselves. Talking about the Lion King.
But just having that little bit of Jafar, like, it's when he first spoke, I was just like, yeah, I'm not intimidated at all. Like, if I had some dudes like, hey, you're gonna go to this cave, and he had like that voice, I'd have been like, no.
You know what? I will 100% agree with you right there. Talking about this guy right here, Jafar. The guy's playing Jafar. I don't know his name. I'm very unprepared for this show. I don't know any of the actors' names or anything like that outside of Will Smith. I'll get it pulled up here in a second. But yeah, this guy, it doesn't have that intimidation factor.
No, not at all. I will say though that the staff and Iago are on point.
Yes. Did you ever watch Legends of Tomorrow?
Sadly, I have not.
Haven't gotten to that yet. Yes. I know you have. Yeah. And I feel with Jafar, I feel the same way that I felt about Vandal Savage in Legends of Tomorrow, in that he looks fine. It's just, for whatever reason, he doesn't come across as intimidating. And you would think like Vandal Savage as he's one of the iconic DC villains. Right, yeah. So you're like, man, I should be a little bit afraid of you.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the actor's fault. I think it's just miscasting. in that regard. And when you think of Jafar, you think of this, somebody who's tall and just foreboding in a sense. And I don't get that from this guy. I don't get it from him at all.
Like you expect like pure evil, and he just does not sell that to me.
The CGI, in some cases, because I mean, they may have built this cave for all I know. They may have built this cave. This may be a practical cave, but like you said, like the cave looks actually really good.
Yeah, it's like something I would expect, like, if you actually stumbled upon like a magical cave,
right?
That it, bam, like
yes. Yeah, I would say like, okay, the cave from the beginning of the film, I'm like, all right, that looks really good. I mean, it's probably, if they built it, there's going to be some elements of that are CGI and everything, but if it's practical, that's really good. There's a part where I'm trying to find it where they're having this parade in Agrabah, I'm assuming, and that looks really good. I'm like, okay, all of that. I mean, because I know all of that's not really there. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, that looks really good and everything. But it's just for whatever reason, when you get to old Will and Blue, it really just pales.
And the thing that I miss, that maybe it's in the movie, I don't know, but when in the animated movie, when he came out and he's like, oh, the creak in my neck.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting that, and then it was just like, oh.
When he does come out, he does have that little, his typical Will Smith noises. He does have that and everything, but I will agree. It's very hard to really replicate, Robin Williams coming out and doing his thing. Put it this way, there is nobody that's going to recapture what these guys did. There's no way. There's just no way. And I don't think Will Smith is ever going to try. I would not blame him if he didn't. There's just no way you're going to be able to recapture, what Robin Williams did with this character.
And against Will Smith, I love Will Smith in a lot of his movies. I Am Legend, all the way to Fresh Prince, like great. But to me, honestly, and this is going on a limb, and I feel like they should have stuck to like maybe a comedian, more of a comedic character. To me, I think personally, and this is going off on a limb, but Gabriel Iglesias, I feel like he would have did halfway decent for an Aladdin, just because he's able to throw his voice. He makes smirky remarks like that are funny, and that's something you would expect from Genie. And I think like in this one, like to me, I feel like they're gonna give Genie a more of a serious role than a comedic role.
And that's one thing I wanted to kind of address here was I'm gonna have to look up who Gabriel Iglesias is because I'm
fluffy, man.
I'm not I'm not really familiar with Gabrielle Union. That's not who I want. But
we would always want her.
I wouldn't be opposed, but I'm just saying. Okay, that's Gabriel Iglesias here. Okay, I have seen him before, actually. I could get him pulled up here, but you know what? He kind of has a look.
Yeah, and just the way he is with his jokes, and the way he makes fun of things and throws his voice, it's just like I could see him doing a Genie. Nothing against Will Smith and all, but I just feel like me, like I want a really good comedian or someone that's hilarious to do a Genie. I don't want a serious Genie.
I gotcha. And that's the one thing I was actually going to go into with the trailer. The tone feels very because I mean the original Aladdin had a bit of darkness to it. It did have a little bit of seriousness to it. It looks like they might take this to another level with that. Which is almost reminiscent of what they did with the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book was far, far darker than the actual, the 1960s, I think, when it came out. I gotta pull it up here somewhere, but I think it was like the 19. But the original cartoon and everything. That was far it was much darker. It was much darker than 1967.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was definitely much darker than that cartoon.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, took it a little bit more serious. It didn't work all the time, but I would say like this is probably the Jungle Book was definitely one of their better remakes in a sense. I still could have done without it. I'm not gonna lie there. But it was definitely like in terms of the quality of their remakes, that was definitely one of their better ones. Was the Jungle Book. They might be trying to execute that same thing here with Aladdin, and I wouldn't be too opposed to it. I think just I'm honestly probably a little bit burnt out on the Disney remakes just because the sheer number of them. And that's something we were we were talking about earlier. There's so many right
Yeah.
now. It's like they they've got freaking they remade the Jungle Book twice. 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella. That I can't tell you how many times that's been remade. Like the Jungle Book, the more Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast. And a lot of them, what was that other one we were talking about earlier? The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and a lot of those are misses, man. I mean, I call it as I see it. A lot of them are misses. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, we were talking about this earlier. It does have an entertainment value. I mean, it's hard to have a Nicolas Cage movie that's not entertaining. so it has some entertainment value to it. But I would definitely say like most of those movies, like they just they couldn't execute. That's kind of going into what I was saying before we started the show, is that it's going to be hard to do that. It's going to be hard to make a good movie and bring people in and make successful remakes and everything. It's going to be hard to do that if your mindset is just like, I need to make more money off this franchise. You're not doing anything like, oh, I could tell this story in a different way, or I could, or maybe I could make it more serious. Maybe I can make it more, more funny and everything. Just if you're not thinking of that, if those aren't your first thoughts, if the art isn't your first thought, I don't believe like any remake that you make is going to be successful. Let me ask you this question. It's going to probably come up again. Whatever happened to re-releasing movies? Can we not re-release movies anymore? Like, would it be so bad? I mean, Aladdin came out in 1992. That's not that long ago. Like we were all.
I was about to say, not even like 30 years.
Yeah, so I'm like, would it be so bad if you re-released the movie in theaters today? Everything. I'm like, if you want to expose a younger audience to it and everything, because I understand like those movies came out before the whole HDs and stuff. So like, hey, and remaster it, repurpose it and everything, and maybe just in theaters again.
Yeah, and
go see it,
and give it as like a tribute to Robin Williams.
There you go. I mean, that's actually a really good idea because you think about with another franchise, Jurassic Park, they re-released Jurassic Park in 3D. They didn't remake Jurassic Park. They didn't try to reboot Jurassic Park. They were just like, Jurassic Park. If you missed it back in 1993, was it 1993-ish? Somewhere around
90s-ish.
Yeah. Somewhere around that time frame. But I'm like, all right, hey, you released it back then. Maybe people didn't see it. Hey, here's an updated version. It's HD and now it's even 3D. And now if the people who didn't see it from back then can see it now, or the people that were too young to see it back then, they can see it now on the big screen. I mean, just stuff like that. I mean,
and they've done that with like so many movies now. Like they did it with Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've done it with a couple of the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Like so when Halloween time comes around, like you always expect them to, maybe re-release one of the Halloween movies.
Yep.
They've done it with the very first Star Wars.
Yes, exactly. That's another good one. I mean, and you own Star Wars Disney? Come on now. I'm like, all right, if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to re-release your movies, then why not do it for this? I mean, animation isn't dead. I mean, as much as people are trying to say that it is, That's not a straw man. Like people actually saying that animation is just like, nah, animation ain't the way to go anymore. That's kind of why we see more 3D animation and stuff now. But I'm like, well, look at the Dragon Ball Super Broly numbers. Animation's not dead.
No, not by a long shot.
There's just some things that 2D animation can capture.
Yeah.